Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the matches from this week, roster news. We're doing the Wordle again. We're going to break our record today. If you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. Brock, I think we're going to go to war today with some people.
I think we
We'll get
are.
back to that later, Brock. We're going to beat our record on the Wordle. I think
Yes.
what is our record currently? Is it 5 on here?
Think yeah, I believe it's
Which is
5.
honestly not that great. I think we can do better. Who are we? You always pick. What'd you pick? Major Maniac, and who did you pick last week?
Uh, didn't I pick who did I pick?
I don't even remember. But let's get it kicked off. Who are you picking today? We're trying to make this tradition starting off with the CDL Wordle every week. Brock, give us a player. Give us somebody that has like a few wins, not a lot.
Hmm. Let's go with let's go with one win. Let's go with Sib. We'll go with Sib today.
Alright, Sib. I was gonna say he has 2, doesn't he? Yeah, because they won a random another one. So 0 rings, more than 2 wins, older than Sib. So probably a pretty well known player, more than 2 wins. Older, hasn't played for any of those teams. No Atlanta, no Cloud9 New York, no NYSL, no Seattle. 0 rings though. Not from the
Yeah.
US also.
Okay.
How about oh
No
no, 0
rings.
played for NYSL. I was gonna say 0.
Atlanticina NY.
Let's think of an EU player that has a few wins under his belt. What about Jerd?
Jerd. I'm down.
If they're counting his like EU titles, so they do count his 6 wins. So it's between 3, 4, or 5 wins. He's younger than Jerd, didn't play for London, not from Ireland.
Hmm.
Uh Can't be one of the Spanish players. They don't have enough wins. Can't obviously be any of the Saudi players. It has to be an EU player, really, doesn't it?
I would think so, yeah.
It's not Hydra. He has a ring. Could be an Australian player, but like Dens doesn't have enough wins
Cammy?
unless they're. That's not a bad shout. Let's do Cammy. That's a good shout, actually.
I don't think it's 5 wins though.
Okay, that's a good guess, though. That gets us to. So he has 4 or 5 wins, no rings. He played for Minnesota and Toronto, and he was teammates with Cammy.
Clinic?
I feels like this should be obvious. Team Minnesota and Toronto teammates with Cammy.
Bant?
I was gonna say attached, but he's a ring. Bance, that's a yeah. You have to be. That has to be it.
I would think
Has to be a good call. Yep. There we go. Got it in 4. Look at you, Brock.
Fancy Castle for the win.
Today, hey, we beat the average 5.4.
Let's
Um,
go.
yeah, Bance, good. We're in 4 now. That was weird. I don't know why I was so thrown off by him not being from Ireland, Scotland, US. I was just like, then yeah, the Cammy guess was good. It got us the teammates.
Mhm.
Um,
Next week, we're going for 3 or less.
we just got to get it in 1 sometime. Everybody's just gonna think it's fake if we do.
Yeah.
We'll switch over here. We got the matches up before we get into the matches from this past week. Let's talk about when we have a little bit of roster news and stuff. Let's jump into that. The big news is Lunar's in for Priesta. That's really the only actual like change. I mean,
Yep.
people are hinting at stuff like all over the timeline, but the only actual like official change or like rumored official change is Lunar's in. I know for like a bit I know like a lot of people were saying he was in for Priesta, but then like Jacob Hale was like saying it wasn't actually like confirmed, I don't think. I went to Jacob Hale's Twitter and I forgot he said like Devonte Smith, like football Devonte Smith, he's like walling on Warzone or something. Did you
That's
see that?
crazy.
I saw a
I
clip of
saw the
him.
Devonta Smith, but I thought he was just, like, commenting about, like, him playing Call of Duty Warzone and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't see I didn't like really watch the clip. I watched like a little bit and he did look like he had insane awareness. Like he was just like the second he would look off a building, he knew exactly where somebody was and it was kind of funny and yeah, I find that hilarious. I mean, I guess he's got the money. He's just cheating.
I mean,
Um,
you don't really get banned these days, so
Also, I feel like Devontae Smith could hit him up, probably get unbanned. That's just how Activision works.
yeah,
Uh,
not wrong about
anyways,
that.
we'll go to Jacob Hale. His last where did he say? Let's see. So like yeah, Jacob Hale said he's hearing Lunars is heading to LAG, but it's not confirmed who it's for. And then somebody else was like, "Well, Ronnie just said it was for Priesta," and then he's like, "Yeah, CDL Intel tweeted first." So it seems like it's pretty much confirmed for Priesta. But Lunars, like we said, we don't follow challengers probably like as well as we should. Like we know like top players and stuff, but like Lunars is supposed to be incredibly good, like a walking 1.3 is what a lot of people in challengers say.
Yep. So that definitely help. If he's in for Priest, because Priest has more likely been struggling throughout the whole season.
Yeah, Priesta was like specifically struggling a lot early. He's been better as of late, but like I mean, the team had to make a change. The results aren't getting better.
Yeah, they're not winning.
They're not winning. I mean, they're the only team. I mean, OpTic can't beat a Soul, and OpTic beat them for their last win.
Yeah.
Uh, I do feel like Priesta like lately though he has. I mean, he has a 0.95 on the year. Like he hasn't been playing great by any means, but he's been better since the first few matches. I'd say it's still
hmm
just not good enough. And I don't know. This might spell the end for Priesta. He's
Yeah.
like he wins the world championship. Seems like everything is on the up for him. He gets dropped from that team, and then just a really, really, really tough year on
hmm
Boston, and then he gets dropped from there, and then another tough start to the year, and he's dropped again. Like he's been dropped off two bottom teams. It's looking like the end could be near for him, which is kind of crazy. Just like the 2 year change from world champ to just like he's never had really another good roster since.
Yeah. And it's not like he's young. He's kind of he's on the older side now.
I mean, yeah, he's been playing for. I mean, I remember him playing on like Panda Gaming and Black Ops 3. Like
Yeah.
he's been around for a while.
Yep. So yeah, not too many more chances that he'll probably get, which is unfortunate. Just how Call of Duty works.
I am excited to see Lunars play though, because like this team, I if he is as good as advertised, my hopes are not done for LAG.
hmm
Like they still have Skies and Kismet who are part of a world championship roster, and overall, like Kismet's been actually like playing pretty well this year. He's actually higher on the year in his KD than Linz at a 1.07. And
hmm
like Kismet has had a lot of maps like on land against OpTic, he looked really good, and he's had some really good moments, especially like in respawn. Like Kismet and Linz have been a pretty formidable slaying duo,
Yep.
and Skies has been a Sky. I mean, Skies is at a 0.98. I feel like that's like Skies has been like a walking 0.98 to like 1.05 for like his entire
Years.
time in the CDL. Like he just hovers like just below one, just above a one, and he's just a solid player. Like I feel like he is a really good AR when he's got a really good team around him. And if this Lunars kid is as good as advertised and can fry, like this team has lost so many game fives, and it would help if they could just like grab more respawns.
hmm Yep.
Because I mean, they've been overall like decent in search. It's like, what is their? I guess their search totals actually are worse than I thought they were. For some reason, I thought they've been a little better in search. They're 4-11 in search. They're actually 9-9 in hardpoint and 6-4 in control. So it's like pick up the slaying. Maybe he can make a little bit more plays in S&D because I mean on the year Priest is at a 0.8 in S&D. So like bring a little more slaying to the respawns and make their respawns like just that much more solid. Pick it up a little bit in S&D. Like I don't know. I
hmm
will. Priest has been struggling. They're bringing on a player that a lot of people are saying has a chance to be just like a walking 1.2. So the changes, it makes me excited. I think that the LAG squad could improve a lot from this. Because I mean, who do they play this week? They play Miami and Surge. Like a very good opportunity for them to get some wins on the board. Like those are very beatable teams.
Yep. And they definitely need those wins because can't keep losing game fives. You're so close. It's gonna add up in the end with champs coming around the corner.
Well, and like we're at a time of the year too where like anything is possible for like in terms of standings. Like nobody, I mean, Falcons are probably out, but
Yeah.
nobody is really out of it. Like, I mean, LAG, where are they in terms of overall standings? They are sitting in 11th with 20 points. Eighth is 70 points. You
Yep.
know, 50 points. That gap sounds like a lot, but with a bunch of matches left online major two, you got three majors, you got the minor tournament. Like there's plenty of time for them to make up that gap. And like It's not like Boston is like some amazing team, and the teams above them, Cloud9, Vancouver, they're not like insurmountable an insurmountable lead. 50 points is not anything like
Yeah.
too crazy to overcome over the course of 3 and a half stages.
They definitely can get rolling, yeah, get their wins up, and make a run.
Yeah. So excited to see Lunars in the lineup. Um, let's just go match by match. We're gonna kind of just go by match by match here, talk about them. First match on the weekend, Carolina versus the Los Angeles Thieves. It was just, I mean, Carolina, I don't know, is they look good on land. They might just be a land team.
Like last year, they could not win online, just win every land game.
Yeah, they couldn't win online. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Vivid it continues to just I don't know. He just continues to struggle. He has
Struggling.
a point 0.6. Like he had a little stretch there on land where he
Mhm.
looked decent after his eye wasn't swollen shut anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we're gonna look back and like see this Lunars kid frying, and we're gonna be like, damn, that should have been the pickup. Like Carolina should have just like pulled the plug. And we are the biggest Vivid stands.
Hmm.
But right now he isn't playing well. Like, and we'll get to what people are thinking is like the whole Kenny isn't playing well either. And we'll talk about the difference between Reese Vivid not playing well on a team and Kenny not playing well in terms of the leashes.
Yeah.
We'll talk about like why one has a longer leash than the other. But Vivid's not playing well right now, and like I do think like they can still be solid with him and they can still have good performances on land. I just don't know like if they continue to struggle, and I think they have a decently tough rest of the split coming up. Like they have Rocker, who are a pretty good team, and then OpTic, who I mean, who knows? Maybe OpTic will get it figured out, but right now they don't look great. Uh,
Hmm.
and the Miner, and then after that they get Cloud9 and Miami and Falcons. So I guess things do ease up a little bit. Like Cloud9 and Falcons and Miami aren't like crazy tough matches. And OpTic right now isn't a very tough match. So things do ease up a little bit for them, at least for their sake. But I don't know. They may look back and regret if Lunars is frying. They may look back and be like, damn, if we would have picked him up in this team to duo him with Gwyn for the future. Tej Slasher been playing pretty well this year.
Yeah. Just hopefully Vivid picks it up because we're both huge fans of him. So
Yeah.
want him to stay on that team, and we're also just a fan of Carolina as a whole. Hmm.
Yeah. It was interesting to hear Envoy's comments after this series too, talking about how Gwyn's just like out there
Yeah.
not playing for the win, which I fully like am on board for those comments. Like we see people not playing for the win all the time. The one thing I will say, if you're a player like Envoy, it is a lot. Like I understand Envoy knows how to win. He's a really good player, but like it is a
Mhm.
lot easier, let's be honest, to say that like people aren't playing for the win when you're spawning in with Ghosty, Hydra, and Scrap.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier for you to like just make the right play and play for the win. Where if you're Gwyn and you're spawning in with Vivid, Tej, and Slasher, who are all good players, but like Vivid dropped a point 0.6 in this series. TJ, wasn't really like frying like we've seen TJ do all year. He didn't have a bad series, but he wasn't playing like as well as he has over the past like month or so. Um, like Gwyn is trying to overcompensate for a lack of talent in this matchup. I mean, like
Hmm.
we like Carolina, but LA Thieves is a lot more talented than them.
Yeah. Envoy and Gwyn play two different roles for their teams.
Yeah. So while I do agree with people not playing for the win in Envoy, I kind of think it's a little bit of a weird shot just because, like, yeah, Gwyn is having to make up for a big talent diff, and maybe he's just thinking he has to get more kills, and he's making mistakes. But at the end of the day, like, there's a talent diff. He's just trying to not have his team get outslayed by a million kills because regardless of how well you're playing, if you're getting outslayed super heavily, it's going to be pretty much impossible to win.
Yeah. It's very hard to win getting outslayed like that unless for back in the day, Red Reserve.
Yeah. Less well, and also it works only in like more punishing games where like a 4 dead and somebody's
Hmm.
anchoring the spawns you across the map and you get a free 20, 30 seconds. And in the games today, like you can get a 4 dead and they'll spawn 2 seconds from the hill.
Yeah.
And you get a 4 dead and you think, oh, we're gonna get a nice solid 20 off this, but they're touching the hill within 5 seconds. Like
Hmm.
the spawns aren't as punishing in the modern game, so it's a lot harder to get those
Yep.
big chunks of time.
Also, it just kind of kind of weird to see Envoy calling him Gwyn out, like you
I
say.
know.
Envoy doesn't really talk much.
Yeah, I mean, Envoy's a really good player, but yeah, he doesn't really talk. Like he doesn't. I don't know. Like on stage, maybe he'll get hype, but he doesn't just like directly in the media. He's like you can tell he's media trained. He's well spoken. He's a smart kid. Like he doesn't usually just like pop off on somebody like that. So yeah, that was a little bit
Had
interesting.
to
I
be
liked it though.
someone talking in his
Yeah,
ear.
yeah, I liked it though.
Yeah.
Next match, Brock. The Falcons reverse swept the control on Boston. Cammy, Cold War Cammy showed up in this series. He was shooting.
Cold War
But
Cammy's back.
I mean, like once again, it's against the Falcons, so like
Yeah.
let's see. I mean, and then who did they play? They played LAG, and I think he played okay in that series if I remember right. But I mean, the Falcon series, we don't have too much to talk about here. I mean, like King and Xnid continue to show that like they can shoot.
Yeah, they're good.
Um, but the team just makes so many just fundamental errors overall.
Mhm.
Still, I don't know. Not much to say for Falcons. They continue to show they can shoot, but they just aren't competitive because until I mean, they can win the occasional control. They look okay in search, but I mean, until they can win a hard point, they're like 0-17 or whatever now. Until they can win a
Yeah,
hard
they
point,
haven't
like
won a hard point the whole season.
yeah, like until they can win a hard point, you just can't. You can't even like consider picking them in a series.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's definitely in their minds too that the map one hard point. Like, oh great, we're not gonna win this. They're probably thinking in the back of their head a little
Mhm.
bit.
Yeah. Vancouver Surge versus Atlanta FaZe Brock. Surge win 3-1, and we got to give our props to, I mean, well, Nasty, he fried the series. Like, he obviously played a lot better than we're used to. Nasty, good player, but 1.4 against FaZe is absurd.
That is
But
terrible.
he's definitely the player of the match. I know, he deserves it, but I got to give a shout out to Neptune
Nep.
because, I mean, what did Neptune we'll get to his numbers in the other series. Well, actually, let me just pull it up. Against Cloud9, they won in that map 5. Neptune had a 1.11 in both series. He had a 1.11 in both series they played. And we got to give him credit. He was running it down. He was providing a lot of slaying. And like, Cloud9 is a team that can shoot. Like they aren't the best team, but they can certainly shoot.
Yep.
Not an easy team to just like pub stomp. And obviously, Atlanta FaZe, maybe the hardest team to do that against. He was looking really, really good, setting pace, dealing damage, getting kills. And like, we criticize the pickup because we've seen Neptune, not really play like this. In his previous stints in the CDL, we were like, Huke was out there. It was an obvious pick. He has
Hmm.
chemistry, but shout out to Neptune because he was cooking. I mean, if he continues, like maybe we're finally going to see the Neptune that everybody's been hoping for how many years since he's been playing.
Yeah, and maybe like I said, sometimes in the past he's been kind of unlucky in a way. Maybe this is just his game. All the fast paced stuff, and it's good to show against a top team like FaZe.
Yeah. I mean, it's never been a talent issue. Neptune has always been like he's always been a capable player that certainly is talented enough to be in the CDL.
Hmm.
It's just been more situations, maybe, like his ability to process on the map. It's just been more like other factors. Like it's always been like if Neptune gets in a straight up gunfight, like he's got the talent to be in the CDL at that level. It's just been more of the micro things on the map. And I mean, he looked good. It wasn't like I mean, it's hard like when you fry phase, it instantly like, perks your ears up. It's not like it's not like he fried Falcons like Hammy did, where you're like, okay, let's see him in another match. Like he fried phase, it's like, okay, like
Hmm.
instantly that already like opens your eyes, and then he goes out and he fries Vancouver as well. Or sorry, Cloud9 as well. And it's like, okay, that's two good matches. I want to see what he can do. And I mean, he plays who does he get this week? The Surge get LAG. So I mean,
Another winnable match.
could easily be 3-0 after this week, and Neptune could have another really big series. But shout out to Neptune because if he continues to play like this, like 04 obviously didn't have the best series against FaZe with a point 0.8. He bounced back with a really nice series against Cloud9.
Hmm.
Um, but like, I mean, if Neptune continues to play like this, 04 has been pretty good overall since, I mean, basically since he's joined the league. Like, that could be a formidable sub duo. And like, if Abuza can ever get to the level that we expect Abuza to be at from last year,
Yeah,
Nasty's been pretty solid overall this year. Like, I mean, we're looking at like a really, really solid team here.
I think definitely make some noise if all these players are playing to their full potential at the
Well, and
same time.
yeah, like we said, like the other three players have like proven that they can be like very good and like they were just lacking a little slaying and like I mean, it showed here. Like they were able to take 2 respawns off Atlanta FaZe, and even the one they didn't take was a close hardpoint map 1,
Hmm.
where they lost it. But like, I mean, the uptick in slaying helped. We'll see if it continues. We'll see if Neptune can keep this up. I'm excited to see if he can.
Yeah, same here. Excited for that team.
Then next, Brock, we've got Boston versus your boys LAG. Not as much to talk about for the LAG end on this one, obviously, because like the roster has changed, so we just want to see how that works out. Snoopy continues to look really good,
Ooh,
and they hit him with the dirty, dirty Neslo.
ooh, they sure did. Tough.
Yeah, I mean Kismet and Lens, like we talked about earlier, like those two continue to play really well. The thing that sticks out for me in this series for Priestone, we don't want to harp on it too much because we already talked about it, but damage numbers, he's the only one not with 10k plus. I mean, he was just below it,
Yeah.
34 damage below it, but only one without 10k plus. And I mean, on the side of Boston, Snoopy continues to just be an incredible player. I think he's probably a free agent at the end of this year. He's potentially looking at a team upgrade. I think Snoopy might be on the radar of some teams to get a crack again to play with some really good players.
Yep, agreed. Unless Boston decides to give him a bag.
Yeah. Yeah, unless they decide to like let him build around, but who knows with their current work situation.
Yep. Boston, you're still winning. Love to see that.
Yeah. A 2-0 week, and it's like we can harp on them for who they beat. Like I still am not super confident in this Boston team. Not gonna lie, I'm still not super confident in them. I still don't think like when it comes to land that they're gonna be able to beat like really any of our top teams. I just like I see
Yeah.
teams like Rocker. I see teams like even maybe Miami. I see teams like Toronto. I see even teams like Cloud9, like teams like that that could beat like your Thieves, your FaZe, and I mean if OpTic ever figures it out and actually plays like a top 3 team again, your OpTics. But
Mhm.
I mean, I don't see that out of Boston. Like I don't see Boston. I don't see a world where like on land they take out FaZe. It just I don't see it happening.
Yeah. I don't.
Um,
I just can't see it like you said. But maybe they'll prove us wrong next
I just
major.
don't I just don't think Wake and Cammy. I just don't think that AR duo like I don't know. I just don't like I think Snoopy can can shoot with them, but like I don't know, like the Snoopy Purge duo, Purge is just gonna weigh them down on land when he's facing Simp and Abizi. And then
Yeah.
like the Celium Draza duo, I just don't see them getting shut down by Wake and Cammy unless it's not 5 years ago. Like
Yeah.
it's not MW19 Cold War.
Yeah. 5 years ago, maybe we'll have a talk and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
it's
But
just
five
not the
5 years
same.
later, nope.
Uh, Brock, two teams that I'm really my arrow is pointing up for these two teams. I know Miami lost this matchup to Rocker, but Rocker, I mean, we called it. We were called crazy. We were told we were so faded for having them beating Boston in the second round. Boston didn't even make it to the matchup.
Yep.
Rocker, they go 2-0 on the weekend with impressive wins over OpTic and Miami. And I mean, the sub duo continues. Estriel, I mean, Nero, we called it all offseason. He was the most
Hero.
underrated player in free agency. He was kind of overlooked. He didn't get like any noise really, and he ended up he was supposed to originally be on like Carolina or whatever, and then like he ended up switching to this team. And the second you and I saw this team, we said there's a lot of talent here. Just can they figure it out together?
Yep.
Um, and shout out to Paul because he played really well this weekend. And if Paul's playing that well, this team can beat any like this team instantly becomes like that fourth, fifth team right in that
Hmm.
range.
Yep. I would have to
When
agree.
on a normal day when OpTic is, like, normal and playing to top 3, this team is, like, 4th, 5th of it. I mean, if OpTic's playing like this, they might be the 3rd best team.
Yeah. Just love this team overall, and like you said, Paul playing better. The only makes him go up higher.
I mean, if Paul is playing as well as he did this weekend, this team can beat anybody. I strongly believe that.
Agreed. I would just say that this just subdue is just just so good.
Yeah, Estriel and Nero just apply so much pressure. This team plays so ratty. Geo and Pollux are really good. Like when Paul's playing well, him and Geo are very good at guaranteeing their kills. Like this team is always going to be able to like that's the one thing is some of these teams like Boston can play super correct. Even like Carolina can play super correct, but when it comes down to it, like can they slay? Like when it comes down to just like it's 220 to 220 and it's just down to gunfights on a hill, like can they
Hmm.
win enough fights in waves to beat one of these top teams? A lot of these teams, I don't think so, but like, I don't know, man. Nero, Geo, Estriel, and Paul X, like, if Paul is playing like this and they get into those just like dog fights where it's just gunfight, gunfight, gunfight constantly in waves at the end, like they can shoot with these top teams. These guys are
Yep.
good.
Agreed. And maybe people aren't as high because maybe the names, people don't really, put the like top players to these players' names.
Yeah, and these guys are learning to play together, but they are like it's always the like you and I always talk about it, but I would rather you put together a team of a
That can
bunch of
gun.
guys that just have a bunch of gunny, a bunch of talent, and then have them figure it out, than just like putting together like random vets and guys, that know what they're doing, but like the talent isn't really there. Because if you're not gonna put together a roster that LA Thieves put together this offseason where it's just superstar loaded, like take chances on the players that are up and coming with a lot of gunny and a lot of talent. Don't just like recycle, the old players that you're not sure if they still have it. Like just take chances because I mean, your team's not going to win anyways when you recycle those old players, but you might be able to catch lightning in a bottle.
Yep.
And like, I don't know if this team's going to win an event, but like, they certainly are. Like when they go to land and like they go to tournaments, like if your team is playing them in round one, like I'm not excited about playing them. They're a team that like if their guns are hot, they can beat anybody on any given day. And especially when Paul plays like this, we've said it. Like if Paul can just play average, this team can beat anybody. If he's playing like this, he was well above average this weekend.
Yep. Just excited to see this team play some more.
On the side of Miami, I tweeted about it, but like, I mean, Rencor and Real, it was a little bit of a weird series because, like, obviously Super comes in and like he doesn't look great in the match, but also to be fair to him, like he's being subbed in late. Like, it's not like he has like a full, months of practice with the team. So let's be fair to him. But like, man, Rencor and Real that's a talented duo.
Hmm. Agreed.
They're really, really good. Both of them are really good. This Miami team will forever be in consideration for like around that top 6 range, just simply because those 2 are so good that they are gonna be able to keep you in series against other mid-pack teams that Miami's always gonna be relevant enough to like, be like sniffing around a top 6, I think.
Yep.
Because those 2 are really good. And when Lucky and Metals are in, like they're not amazing, but Lucky and Metals are solid players. Like
Hmm.
nothing crazy, but they can do something for you.
Man. Yeah. This I like this team. Only this team. I think Vickle would be a good flex fit for this team.
Yeah. Instead of Metals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I
Especially
don't
when
know.
Metals playing.
Just for whatever reason, I just feel like Vickle just shows up in the big moments.
I also think Vickle's just like a little bit more consistent. Like Metals is a good player, but Vickle, it just like I agree. He does show up in the big moments. He seems to like the pressure moments, and he just has like a little edge to him that I feel like always helps out a team. Like that little
Hmm.
bit of energy he brings. Um,
Yeah.
I do. I think yeah. I think he just is a little more consistent. I would love him as the flex in this team. I just don't. I don't know if he's interested in playing anymore.
Yeah. Unfortunate, but sometimes how it goes.
Yeah. I'm gonna just pull up both the optic matches now since we just talked about Rocker. We already talked about uh FaZe a bit with them losing to Vancouver. I mean, we don't really have anything to say about FaZe. Like they lost to Vancouver, then they spoke to Optic. Like nobody's worried about FaZe after a loss to Vancouver.
Still the
Little
best
major win.
team.
Yeah, little major win hangover, and I, unless you have some crazy hot take, I'm not even worried in the slightest
Nope.
about FaZe. Uh, I'll just touch on one thing for them because obviously they steamrolled Optic in this series. It was such a weird like, Abizi had no engagements, it was so weird. Like, he was 41 and 42 in the series. Everybody else, I mean, a 1.45 from Celium, a 1.27 from Draza, a 1.34 from Simp. Abizi just had his feet up.
He's picked up relaxed. It looked like.
Yeah, he was 12 and 25 on the first map. He, like, basically didn't spawn in, and they still handled them. Then he went
Yeah.
6 and 6 in the search. He picked it up 23 and 11 in the control, but it was just, like, his lack of engagements is just so, like, it's just so weird. Like, we got 32 and 21, 37 and 26, 37 and 26, and he was just 12 and 25. Just, like,
Hmm.
he just had his feet kicked up, and, it's just weird because that's obviously the opposite of what we're used to from BZ.
Yeah. Was he anchoring spawns map one or something?
I mean, he wasn't winning gunfights, but he also just, like, wasn't getting engagements, and he didn't have a ton of hill time. It's just kinda funny. Draza
Yeah.
was just running it down.
Yeah.
Uh,
Draza and Selim they're so good together.
yeah. Let's talk about Optic, Brock. It's been a rough go, since they looked really good
Hmm.
with huke heading into the major. And then at the major, things kind of crumbled. Their hard point's been abysmal. They lost 6-0 map count this weekend. Played two pretty good teams. First weekend with Pred back. In terms of shooting his gun and getting kills, Pred looked pretty good this weekend.
Yep.
Which I mean, I some people were expecting him to maybe like really struggle in that regard. I mean, Pred's really talented. He's gonna always be able to shoot his gun.
Yeah,
Uh,
talented player, so he'll
Obviously, the
find a way.
big talk is Kenny, and he's
Yep.
really struggling right now. Like I don't know what I think it's because we like talk highly on Kenny because he deserves to be talked highly about. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't. We've acknowledged the entire time that Kenny is struggling.
Yep. He
Kenny
has
is
been
currently
struggling.
struggling. All we have said is that I don't think it justifies him being dropped. And I've seen the talk of like, well, like Priesta is struggling, or I mean, the example we used was, Vivid struggling. I said we touch on that. So like maybe you take a chance to pick up Lunars. Why wouldn't you use the same logic for Kenny? Well, I mean, it's very obvious why the same logic isn't applied in that aspect. Like Kenny is a two-time world champion,
Yep.
and it's not like I heard like funny enough, I like randomly tuned into like a little section of like the Breaking Point podcast they do with like Zero and Tactical Rab and Ace and Gersh was on there, and he said something like, if like Ace spawned in right now and you're like he's a two-time world champ, it's very different because Ace hasn't played in 5 years.
Yeah.
Kenny is a world champ like 5 months ago.
Mhm.
Kenny's a world champ like 5, 6, whatever months removed. And then a world champ again just a couple years before that, and he won an event. I mean, like, what did I tweet? That stat that I tweeted. I need to find that. Like, both of us right now, would you agree? Kenny is playing very poorly right now.
Yes, at this moment.
Yeah, he's playing very poorly right now. I agree. The thing is, you just don't like a lot of people are saying, what pickup out of challengers makes sense? Because like you don't need slang for this team. Like the only relative pickup that makes sense in terms of play styles and like still like getting the comms is like Tyler Fellow. And I'm sorry, like I love Fellow, good player, but I'm not dropping Kenny for Tyler Fellow. Like in the long run, that's just Kenny's a better player.
Yeah, it's just not it.
What did I there-
Sure that if you drop Kenny right now, the team might get a little bit better, but for the long run, they're not gonna be as good as they were if they had Kenny.
Yeah, like here, this is what I tweeted. OpTic event wins. Cold War through MW2. OpTic won one major, no champs. OpTic in MW3 alone in the 1 year Kenny was on the team, they won a major and champs. So
Yep.
they tied their majors over those previous 3 years and won a ring. In MW19, the home series, 8 teams, single elimination. They're weird. So like if you just X out that year, like huntsmen, whatever you want to call it, and you add in BO4 and World War II, the two previous years before the CDL, it's still tied 2-2. In those years with one of the Kenny wins being a ring. Like it's not a coincidence. Like they couldn't win. OpTic couldn't win.
Yep.
In World War II, they didn't win an event. In BO4, they won the first event, didn't win anything else. Like I said, MW19, they won a few home series, but it's MW19 is just a really weird year in Call of Duty history.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was a tough time.
and then Cold War to MW2, they won one single major in Vanguard. No rings, anything. Kenny joins, they win a major. They tie their major wins. It's the same major wins they had over the last 3 years, and they win a champs. That's why Kenny gets a longer leash because OpTic couldn't win anything until he joined. They could not win for years and years and years until
Mhm.
Kenny joined. He's the winningest player in the CDL, and that's why he gets a longer leash.
Yep.
Now, with that said, he's really struggling right now, and they need to figure it out because, like, of course, if he continues to just drop 0.5s the whole year, 0.6s the whole year, like they can continue to talk about like, hey, maybe they need to make a change. It's just not working out in this game. I just don't believe, and we can have, random people in the comments, random people on Twitter say like he's just can't get kills right now. But like what we are saying is also being echoed by like I saw a clip of Octane talking about today. Like a lot of pros are talking, like you can tell Paul X said when he was playing against him, Kenny just like looked like he was in like uncomfortable in weird spots on the map.
Mhm.
Like Kenny doesn't looks like he doesn't know where the gunfights should be coming from, which tells me that there is a problem. And I'm not saying, oh, it's on his teammates. They're not communicating. There's an overall team problem.
Yeah.
Shotzzy's not playing well right now either. Like Shotzzy, lowest damage on the team in that Rocker series, 0.93. Against FaZe, Shotzzy, not a lot of damage in that series, also 0.86. Like Shotzi's not playing well. Dashy played horrible in that FaZe series. Like there is something off with the team's chemistry and their pacing, their cohesion, and maybe it's because it's Pred is just coming back and they're trying to figure that out. But Kenny was struggling even a little bit with Huke. It's like when you're watching Kenny, like he looks like he's caught off guard by a lot of gunfights. He's trying to overcompensate for maybe things teammates are doing. Like they need to get on the right page because, like Octane said, he's played with Kenny. I trust Octane more than anybody on this
Yep.
matter because he's played so many events with Kenny. And like he said, like Kenny looks like what Octane was doing in Vanguard. And I remember a lot of people wanted Octane dropped in Vanguard. I don't forget that people said this. A lot of people
Yeah.
wanted Octane dropped in Vanguard when he was
That's
struggling.
crazy.
Uh, and what did they do later in that year, anyways?
Yep.
Uh, but like he said, Octane said in that year when he was struggling, it was like he was just trying to press and fill gaps for teammates because they weren't on the same page. And he said that's what Kenny's doing right now.
Mhm.
He's trying to press, he's trying to fill gaps, he's trying to like the team's on the same page. So I remember like one play when Kenny was like on Skyline back P4 in like the bathroom,
Yep.
the hill by the closet,
Yep.
like by bottom bed. He was like in the back and he was like on the staircase that goes up to like the catwalk. And
Mhm.
Pred was like watching the push from P3 from bar. And all of a sudden, for some reason, I don't know like what the comm sounded like, but Pred just like gave it up and sprinted up the staircase to like go to Cat that Kenny was already watching, and you could tell Kenny was like confused by the play, and he's like, "What the heck?" And then he slides out and looks over bar, and he just like gets killed because he slides out and there's like two guys already pressuring him, and he dies. And it's like, what was the communication there? Because like Pred had it held, you could have just held that. Kenny had something else held. They had the setup they wanted. They could both
Yep.
just hold irons, throw shoulders, hold it. And for some reason, Pred just leaves the lane to go rogue, and Kenny's left to go fill that gap, gets double chowed, and dies off because he's not in the right position. And it's like that shouldn't be happening. And that's a communication issue. Like, why does Pred feel the need to go push out something Kenny's already watching? You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. Maybe a miscommunication, and like you said, something's off.
Yeah. Pacing's off. I mean, regardless of how you feel about Kenny, whether you think he should be dropped, whether you think he sucks, I mean, you all have to agree he's a smart Call of Duty player. He's always been a smart pro. Like that's what he's known for. He's always been able to shoot his gun well, but he's also been really smart. So I don't just believe that Kenny all of a sudden doesn't know what's going on
Yeah.
and he just like has no idea what's happening. He's getting caught off guard by gunfights because I truly believe they're just not on the same page. And that isn't a blame on his teammates. That's a blame on all of them. He deserves blame. Dashy, shottzyy, Pred, they all deserve blame
Mhm.
because they're not on the same page. Kenny needs to get kills. Like we love Kenny, but we can criticize him. Like he's not guaranteeing kills, even though he doesn't look aware of what's going on right now because the team cohesion just seems to be off. He's also losing gunfights that he can't be losing.
Yep.
Like there were some gunfights on that control, and also like he got shot in the back like 5 times in a row. And I know that feeling. You know when you're having a bad game,
Oh yeah.
and he got shot in the back a bunch of times in a row, and then he was sprinting up the street on vault B control. He's running down the street. He looks towards like the vault door. He makes somebody one shot to back him off, and you can tell like he needs to make a play in this moment. I think it was in the round 5. So he sprints forward. He's going to cross the bottom gold and like get under there and just be annoying, try to like spawn them out, give them a chance to cat B. As he's sprinting through, he backs that guy off. Car blows up and he dies to it. It's like that's just one of those moments where it's just like it's not your day. Like
Yeah.
you got shot in the back 5 times in a row. You finally get through. You're about to go make a play. Car blows up on you, and it's just like you just can't catch a break.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just not your day.
Yeah, and also you can tell that like something is off with the cohesion and the pace too, because Kenny's dying 90 times in 3 maps. Like that is unacceptable in the Rocker series.
Yeah, it's a lot of times for Kenny.
Yeah. So like, I mean, do you have anything to add to it? For me, it's just like both of us have acknowledged the entire time Kenny is struggling. I still wouldn't drop Kenny. Don't I don't understand like people that are saying how don't you understand how he can be dropped? I understand how you can be talking about it because he is struggling, but once again, like this is a player that has earned a longer leash to figure it out because he's historically a player that has struggled earlier in games. And his
Yep.
teams have struggled earlier in games and they figure it out towards the end. I mean, he's been in what, 4 champs finals? World War
Mhm.
II, BO4, Vanguard, and last year.
Yep.
Like his teams historically like figure these things out towards the end of the year. Like there's a reason he's been in that many finals. There's a reason he's won 2 CDL era champs. Like his teams historically figure these things out. So I give him the benefit of the doubt to do that. I understand he's struggling, like we said. Um, and I guess if he continues to struggle for the rest of the stage, you can look at something like that. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much he brings, if he truly is going to consistently drop point fives and point sixes, obviously yes, something is not working in this game. Like a change needs to be made. I'm just I need to see it for a whole stage, like because I do believe he's going to figure this out. Um, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting here at the end of the year, major three, major four. I doubt it's major two. They figured out and win an event, but we're sitting here major three, major four champs, and OpTic is all of a sudden one of the best teams in the game and contending for titles or winning a championship again. Like Kenny's teams just tend to do this. Like people wanted him and Octane dropped in Vanguard, and look what happened. Like,
They won champs.
yeah, I'm. You have every right to criticize Kenny right now. I'm just not. You're just not going to get me to agree with the dropping of him. And like, I don't know. I feel like we're on the right side of things because it seems like every former pro, people that have won things, they seem to agree.
Hmm.
It's. I mean, we like to make like comparisons to real sports. It's in a way like how the Vivid and Kenny talk that we were talking about. Like Vivid struggling, you maybe look to make a change, but even though Kenny's struggling, you maybe don't look to make a change right now. It's just like I don't know, like to compare it to football, like it's like if you have like a I don't really want to think like too deep into exactly who I want to compare Kenny to, but I don't know, like a Jalen Hurts this year. He just won a ring. Like if Jalen Hurts struggles to start the year next season, he's not playing well, the Eagles are not going to be looking to bench him. He just won them a Super Bowl. Like
Hmm.
he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but like I don't want to think of like a bad example right now, but like you have a quarterback that's, you know, been okay here and there, aka Vivid. And he struggles to start the year, but he's really, he's never really won anything. He's been fine, but he's definitely not like a star player. Like, and he struggles early next season. You may look to bench that guy
Yep.
because he doesn't have a history of winning. He hasn't won anything for you, and he historically hasn't been like an amazing player. Where Jalen Hurts has been to two Super Bowls now, just like Kenny has two rings. Jalen Hurts just won. He's coming off a win. Like you're not going to bench somebody that just won you something and has a history of winning and has always been good, has really never had a struggle year, just because he has a few bad maps or a bad month or something. Like I don't know.
Hmm.
Kenny gets a longer leash in my eyes, and I know we're a little biased because we love him, but uh, he's playing like shit right now. But I have faith in him to figure it out, and that's what it is. Maybe my faith will be misguided, and he'll play terrible the whole year, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I'm honestly on board with you. I would say yeah, like you said, playing bad still after the major, maybe look, but Kenny is gonna pick it up next majors, and I don't know, maybe what if maybe the AR for this year is just not his type of style. Maybe wants to run a sub, but I'm not sure if they'll consider that with Pred.
Also, I still believe, even with how bad Kenny is playing right now, this is how I kind of judge it too on how good a player is and how his stock is. Kenny is playing horrible right now. We said it a million times. I still believe if he were dropped to free agency today, a number of teams would look to pick him up.
Yep.
Carolina would bang his line so damn fast. Slasher loves Kenny. They would bang his
Mhm.
line so damn fast, and they would have him on that team for Vivid so quickly. And Carolina would instantly become better because Kenny would figure it out. He would. He'd be motivated. He'd be dropped. He'd figure it out, and he would just bring that little slaying punch, that little leadership they need. Carolina would instantly become, that really good team we've seen at times this year. Plenty of teams would hit up Kenny, even though he's been playing this bad this year, because they recognize the value of him. That's how you know when a player is good. Is Kenny awful right now? And teams would still consider picking him up if he got dropped because of his pedigree. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't want to keep harping on it. I want to make our picks, but
I, I would one last thing I will say is if I'm Optic, in recent memory, every time Kenny's plays against Optic, if he were to get dropped, it doesn't go well for Optic fans.
yeah, Kenny owns OpTic when he's on Thieves.
Yeah, and like you said, Optic haven't won much last couple years. Kenny comes and wins instantly and a world championship.
I know, and it's like, damn, like this might be a shot at OpTic, but it's like, damn, like y'all haven't won anything for like OpTic didn't win. Like they won champs in IW, and after that, it was just drought.
Yeah. and they still had
They won
superstar players.
like, you won nothing. I mean, think about how many years this is. I'll count them on our hand. You won nothing in World War II. You won one event in BO4, and it was right at the beginning of the year. MW19 is just, I don't know. They won a few home series, but once again, that's just such a weird one to count. Even if you want to count it, okay, they won a couple random like online one-off tournaments,
Yeah,
whatever. They won like the home series LAN in London or whatever, but those are just weird. So just like I ignore the year for everyone. I don't like to count wins besides champs that year for anyone. It's just really weird those home series. Cold War, you didn't win anything. You really didn't have any good placements. Vanguard, you win Major One. Okay, so that's your second win, first one since BO4. So 2 wins in that 4 year stretch, not including 19. Um, and then nothing else after that. You go into MW2, team struggles, a lot of second places, don't win anything, can't close out tournaments. That's 5 years now, uh, with World War II, BO4, Cold War, Vanguard MW2 with only 2 wins.
yep,
And then you go into MW3. So you had 2 wins in the previous 5 years. Oh, and then what do you know? You win a ring for the first time in 7 years and another major. Kenny wins
yeah,
you the same amount of tournaments that you won in the previous 5 or 6 years.
yeah. Then just so happens Kenny joins the team and they start winning.
It's like, damn, you guys didn't win events for years at a time, and now all of a sudden, like, you go just a month. Which, by the way, he won you a ring 6 months ago. Like, and
Crazy.
now it's like you go just a little bit without winning 1 month with him struggling. And it's like drop him, drop him, drop him. It's like, okay, I guess if you want to, go back to losing for years and years and years on end, sure. Like, could this team win like the random one-off events? Absolutely. Shottzyy is a disgusting player, an all-time great. Pred is amazing. Dashy's amazing. And those three, they pick up a fourth, sure, they could win some tournaments. I just don't know that like they're going to consistently win. Like Kenny has struggled in a number of different years where he's had bad stretches, but the consistent always remains. He's the winningest player in the CDL era. Like it's not an accident.
Yeah. And we'll go back to Vanguard. He was struggling just as bad, and they win an event and champs.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see what happens. If they drop him, it'll be uh rejoice in the short term, and I guess we'll just have to see what happens in the long term.
Yeah.
We talked about that for a while. I mean, I don't know if I want to go into the other matches. Like Cloud9 was able to take out Toronto, which was interesting in a 3-0. Good to see. Sib is really starting to pick it up. I mean, he had a really good series. We'd like to see it. Like we said,
Mhm.
probably only a matter of time. Like Sib is extremely good. There's no way that he should be struggling like he was early in the year. He started to pick it up. Uh, that's why you maybe don't lose faith in bad players. Sib's a perfect example, or in good players. Sorry, Sib's a perfect example. Good player
Yep.
struggling. He figured it out.
Hmm.
Um,
Agreed.
and then Toronto, they got it sorted out later in the weekend against the Ravens. LA Thieves Falcons. I mean, shout out to Falcons for winning the search, but we don't we don't have anything to talk about there.
Yeah.
So let's go to our predictions, Brock. We'll wrap it up with that.
Do
Um,
it.
oh man, this week we got an interesting set of matches here. Here they are. Um, First day, I'm now with the roster changes, the obviously, like, uh, I mean, Cloud9 versus the Falcons is, kind of a, whatever match, I guess we could say. But um, Carolina versus Minnesota, I'm really intrigued by because I want to see if Vivid can bounce back, if Carolina can bounce back. Um, and then that next match, we get to see Lunar's debut against a good Miami team. Like that's a good matchup. Like not an incredibly hard matchup for him in the first one, but like one that should be entertaining. So that first day should be fun.
Hmm. Should be.
Brock, where are you going? Carolina, Minnesota. I mean, like it seems like a pretty even match, but just like Carolina's struggling right now, and Minnesota's been shooting. So I definitely feel like Minnesota are a pretty heavy favorite. Like,
Wow.
I
Wow.
mean, fan
The fan.
predictions are going 60% Carolina.
It's kind of shocking.
I mean, I guess if they're just like thinking whole year, but like as of recent form,
Yeah. Minnes-
definitely Minnesota's definitely been the better team. I mean, so far at this stage
Yeah.
for a few weeks. Obviously, it's only a few matches, but that's shocking that Carolina is at 60% from the fan prediction.
That'd be more 50-50, but
I thought
guess
it'd be
not.
I thought it'd be 60-40 Minnesota.
Yeah. I am going to Minnesota here in game 5 against Carolina.
Think so? I'm gonna go Minnesota 3-1, I think. I Carolina definitely can win. They have the ability to win this. I still can't believe the fan predictions is 60-40 Carolina. That
Hmm.
shocks me. Like I don't have a problem with somebody picking them. I just can't believe that they're the favorites.
Yeah.
Uh Next match, Brock, is your boys. LAG Lunars
LNG.
debut versus the Heretics. 63% of the fans picking the Heretics, Brock.
I am not one of those 63% of the fans.
Either my Lunars Legacy series in his
I'm
debut.
going 3-2 game 5. They win a
I
game
agree.
5 with Lunars.
I agree. I hear I don't know much about this kid, but I just hear that he's just this amazing player. Um and Kismet and Linz have been playing so well. So like this kid picks up the slaying. I don't know. I have a feeling this team is gonna perform. And a lot of like we've seen a lot in like recent years. Like people like I the one I always think of is Standy in Cold War against OpTic when he just fried them.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like we've seen a lot of like random debuts where people just like they just cook in their debut, and I don't know. This kid is a long-awaited debut. He's supposed to be so good, and I mean, this team has the makings of a team that could be good. Like they have a couple players that have been playing pretty well all year, so I like them to win in a game 5. Even though I do think Miami, like we said, they have a good, solid sub duo, but they're a beatable team.
Yep. Agreed.
And what was the predictions on that? Yeah, 63% Miami. See, that's fair though, because Miami should be the favorite in this match.
Yep.
And then we got Cloud9 versus
Ooh.
Falcons. Brock, it's 3-0.
I'm giving Falcons a map win here.
Yo,
3-1.
did you look at the fan predictions?
Sure did.
That's a lot. 8%?
That is a lot for Falcons, 8%.
Wait, June 8th? 3-0. Oh, yeah, Legion. I was like, wait, did
That's
Falcons
3
win at
them.
EWC? I was like, did Falcons win at EWC? But yeah, that's the I keep forgetting Vegas Legion show up. I was thinking for a second, like, did I like black out and miss that Falcons won a series at EWC? Uh
Yep.
But no, 3-0 Cloud9. I mean, sure, Falcons look decent enough that they could take a search, and they're competitive in control. They can win them, but like they're not winning a hard point unless something crazy happens. Uh, Realistically, they could get a search.
Yeah. I go Cloud9 3-1.
Oh, you get which? You get them the search?
Yeah. I'll give them search.
Okay. Moving into Saturday, Miami versus Atlanta. FaZe.
Ooh.
It's a 3-0 for FaZe, I think. Sorry, Miami.
As much as I think the yeah, I'm on board with you 3-0, but I think Miami keeps it close for the matches.
Yeah, they definitely can. It's just the talent diff. I think FaZe just, I think they bounce back. I mean, they did smoke OpTic, but they did lose to Surge last week. I think they just come out and handle Miami. It's just a matter of what phase you get. Like if they're locked in, like Miami has no chance to beat them. But yeah, they could keep the maps close. I agree.
Yeah. Ooh.
Um, Here it is, Brock.
Here it is.
Can he bounce back?
Holy up 78% Texas.
I mean, yeah, 96% phase is funny. I mean, yeah, it's your wait. Did it show 76 for you?
78.
I was gonna say mine shows 78.4. I mean, that's not shocking. Like OpTic could really be struggling, and they're always still gonna be, you know, pretty high because it's just the fan base is always gonna be
Yeah.
picking them. And Carolina's also struggling right now, so that even there's even probably people that aren't necessarily OpTic fans that are taking them. Um, what are you thinking here? It's two teams that are struggling. Like OpTic ideally should be better on paper, but they're both kind of struggling right now. And
Huge
Hardpoint
struggle.
especially. Both of them are struggling in Hardpoint too.
Yeah. Two struggling teams. I have this going down to the wire in the game 5 for Optic.
Kenny Legacy Game 5.
Mm, I want to say yes.
Yeah, I don't know that that's gonna happen. I just want to say that to piss people off. People hate when we support Kenny, and I love it.
I want to see at least see a Kenny bounce back game, not a point 0.5.
Point 7.
Yep.
Uh,
The little steps, match by
yeah,
match.
step by step. Point 7, then point 0.75, point 0.8, point 0.85, and then by like round 2 of the major, he's dropping a 1.0, and then all of a sudden in finals, he's dropping a 1.2.
Yep.
Uh,
Crown's MVP.
Um, somebody is spamming their keyboard right now in the comments. They think we're like so serious. They're like,
Yep.
I love it. Dude, I actually found a tweet of a dude. I know we like to talk about this Kenny thing. I found a tweet of a dude that like when I tweeted something about Kenny, like winning champs and like people doubting him, he was like I said something about like I can't wait to like expose all the Kenny haters in the podcast like after they won champs. And the dude like typed in my Twitter comments and he literally said like expose them with a bunch of laughing emojis, like go, yeah, go for it. Like shout out to Kenny. And he's the same dude that's been tweeting at me saying like how can we have faith in Kenny? I'm like,
That's crazy.
you were literally the dude telling me to, like, expose people who didn't believe in Kenny, and now you are the dude that doesn't believe in Kenny, so, like, if he wins champs again this year, at the end of the year, I can, like, go back and be like, "Look at you."
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I thought that was funny, but, shout out to that dude. He's been a long, long, long time supporter, so it's all love for him.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm gonna agree with you. I think OpTic is gonna win a map 5. They haven't showed ice, but also, this is something to talk about for OpTic. Can we just not play teams in their best maps? Like, they gave
Yeah,
Rock did you see that? They gave Rocker all 3 of their best maps,
yeah,
and
it's kind
also,
of faded.
Vault Control or not Vault Control, sorry, Vault Search, like, can we just, like, get that out of the map pool or just, like, have like, can we, like, start vetoing that any team? Because, like, it's just, like, there's not even strategy involved in that map. It's just sprint, rush plan A, and pray you don't get a bad timing for a break.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like, that map is terrible. There is no, like, there's no high level thinking on that map. It's an awful map. Can we just, like, get that out of the rotation or have somebody veto it every time? Because like I said, there's no thought process involved on that map.
Yeah. I'm agree with you that just
Like,
rush plant and, hope to win.
yeah, it's sprint at the cat, drop down, rush plant. Hopefully you get your trophy down in time. Hopefully that you don't get a bad timing where they slide in and, like, shoot you in the back, or, like, you shoulder at the wrong time and they're able to, like, slide chow you and camera you. Like, Vault Search sucks.
Yeah.
And OpTic look
Agreed.
horrible on it, so they also, for their sake, should get rid of that.
Yeah, like you said, do not play teams on their best maps for optic would be,
Yeah.
step in the right
I
direction.
yeah, this series is toss up to me though. I wouldn't be I no map count or winner surprises me. I could see either team winning 3-0, 3-1, or 3-2. Nothing would shock me in this one. It's just two struggling teams. Who's
Yep.
gonna figure it out enough to win
Yep.
a series?
Yep.
Then it's your boys again, Brock. They have a chance to go 2-0 this weekend. They play the Surge, who looked very, very good last weekend.
They did. I am picking another game five because LAG loves to, get in these game five matches, and I'm picking them to win another game five and go 2-0 on the weekend.
I'm gonna go opposite of you. Surge looked too good. I did think about picking LAG in a game 5 like you. Um, I'm going Surge 3-2 though, just because I think I don't know. They look so good last week. Like I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt that they're gonna continue to play well. But I certainly think they're on upset watch. Um, Community's got about 65% Surge. I feel like that's fair because of how well they played last week, and LAG is a new player coming in.
Hmm. Yeah.
I feel like that's fair. But I definitely think that LAG have the upset potential here because, like, Surge did look very good last week, but like it's only 1 week. They overall have looked a little shaky this year. It's only 1 week of looking as good as they did.
Yeah.
Well, I just was this green threw me off for the next series for some reason. I thought it was 77% Boston over Toronto, and I was like, whoa. um,
That would have been a very interesting fan prediction.
yeah, I got Toronto 3-1 in this one though.
Same here.
I just I don't know if I'm ever gonna have faith in them. I just don't. I don't know. Online, they can win matches against middle of the pack teams. Like we said, I just don't. I don't have a lot of faith in Boston. It's Snoopy versus the world. Unless it's Falcons, Cammy fries Falcons, I guess.
Yeah. 3-1, and just, the Toronto team's pretty dang good.
Yeah, agreed. Brock Falcons rocker.
3-0.
Yeah, I
Rocker.
think I'm gonna hit the little flame button to boost that match. Because I mean it should be a locked in win. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, well, same thing. Falcons maybe have the potential to take a search. That's like basically their win condition in every series is to Neslo because they're like decent enough at search that they could win a map too. And then if they somehow get one of their few control wins, it's enough that they at least guarantee force a game 5, and you never know if it goes game 5. That if they can just like somehow win a search and a control in one series, that's how they win because like they could win a game 5, but Other than that, they're not winning a hard point. Until
Yeah.
we see them win a hard point, they're not winning one,
How
especially against a team
long?
like Rocker.
How long will the streak last? That's the real question.
What if it goes? I'm kind of almost. I don't know. I like the players and like they do have so much passion, so I do want them to win one. But like in a way, wouldn't it be crazy if they went the whole year without winning one?
That would be. You gotta get one right.
You would think.
Yeah, that would be
Um,
insane if they did not get a hard point win all year.
that would be wild. Yeah. Uh, got a nice match in the second match. There's a lot of kind of I don't know. There's a lot of like mid teams playing each other this weekend.
Yeah,
Uh, like FaZe only has the one match. OpTic, like who's another? They're not a top team right now, but another premier team only has the one, and Thieves only have like. Excited to see some of these matches, but there's some snoozes on here. This one is a good match though. Thieves Ultra. Oh
it
yeah, where are
is.
people winning? 7.6% pick the Falcons over the Rocker. Dude, I mean, people are just picking for the shock factor of being able to tweet.
Yeah,
Also, this looks crazy because apparently the Legion must have just like owned the Rocker last year because
holy, they do.
Vegas has beat them 5 times in a row.
In their own tent this year. How did that work out?
Yeah, that's funny. 90, almost 91% of people are on the LA Thieves this weekend, which I mean they're definitely the favorite, but that seems pretty high.
I would say so.
What do you think here?
I still think Thieves win 3-1 against Ultra.
I agree with that map count. I think they take them out. Thieves are the better team. Ultra will put up a fight. I think the maps will be close. I think it'll be a fun series to watch, but I got Thieves 3-1 as well.
Yep.
I'm interested to see how the community thinks about this one, Brock. You think they pick more Breach or Cloud9?
I think I think they pick. I think it's like 50-50.
60, almost 65% Breach.
Okay.
You know I'm a hater. I don't agree. I think Cloud9 win a game 5.
Yep. Got that same thing. Game 5.
Yeah, I admittedly am kind of a hater of this Boston team. I like the players in the team. I do. I like the players. I don't know. It's been all year. They started to move me in stage one when they were winning online, and then they did what they did on LAN, and I'm kind of just like, I want to see them do something on LAN. I mean, they could. I guess it doesn't make a lot of sense for these predictions because like they have been pretty good online, and I'm just picking against them online. So like maybe I should be picking them to win. It's just I don't know. Something in my brain still isn't allowing me to pick them. I don't know what. Cloud9 hasn't been very good this year either. Although
Yeah.
Simps picking it up, and I feel like the slaying for Cloud9 is going to be a big
mm,
factor. I just feel like they do have more slaying power, and I think they're going to be able to beat Boston in a couple respawns and then close it out in game 5.
Yeah. But Cloud9 has been better, so there's that.
Also, Boston's been really, really bad at control this year.
Mm,
Like when they were playing Falcons, they lost the control of the Falcons. I saw like they were the 11th best control team, and Falcons were 12. Like Boston's been really bad. They lost control of the Falcons.
Yeah, that's all you need to know.
Which actually, I'm gonna switch this to a 3-1. I think Cloud9 is just gonna rip off 2 hard points in the control against Boston. Now that I think about it,
I like it.
um, yeah, we got kind of a longer episode, but it was fun. We got to rant about Kenny. He probably pissed some people off.
For sure,
Excited to
Andy.
see Lunars come in.
Can't wait for the comments about Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like we think he's like just playing amazing, and it's like no, he's really playing bad right now. But I'm not gonna lose faith. Uh,
Yep.
Which is funny too because now we've been apparently we are like obsessed and we've been glazing optic is the quote. But we're not even we just like Kenny. Uh
Yeah.
I'm just both of us at this point like you kind of like LAG for like the memes. Like you're not
Yeah.
like a diehard LAG fan. I'm at this point just like when I first got into COD, we've talked about this. I think both of us, like almost anybody, when we first got into COD, we were like, "Oh, we like Optic because we watch their content." And then as you start to watch players, you just kind of have players you like, and you just like watching good matches. That's kind of where I'm at this point.
Yeah.
Uh, but I just like Kenny. He's always been my favorite player, so I'm always gonna go to bat for him.
Mhm. I've been on this LAG stand for a little bit now.
You've been on. I mean, you bought the skin. Like you've been on LAG since like Cold War. Actually, I remember you like said like Ultra were your guys right before they won. And
Yeah.
then, like, everybody would when we'd play in ranked would, like, say you were a bandwagon because you had the Ultra skin and they had just one Major 2, but I remember you were, like during Major 1, you were like, "Ultra, they're my squad," and they dropped Zinni,
Yeah.
and picked up Insight, and they ended up, like, going on a tear where they were, like, right up there with FaZe for a long time, and I mean, overall, in Cold War, they were good the whole year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But then you were just kind of like LAG from there on out. Like ever, basically, it was. I think it was like Vanguard. You were kind of like because they had like Gunless and
Yeah.
like Slasher in them, and you were kind of just like LAG. That's my team. And then obviously your first ever event, LAG won, like
Yeah.
your
They
first
did.
event you attended.
They won with the cheese,
Yeah,
the
so like
Volk
that
cheese.
also like you're like your story is basically almost like a little kid who watched the first football game they watched, whatever team won the Super Bowl, they just like cheered for that team.
Yeah. And well, NW2 was a rough year.
Yeah, yeah, especially for them.
Yeah. But the one positive that year, they did have Joe Deceives.
Yeah, and then he left them and went on to greater things.
Yep.
All right, you got anything else before we wrap this one up?
No, not much. Just kind of see some of these matches, and see how they play out.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting weekend. I'm really excited to see Lunars play, see if OpTic can bounce back, um, see if Minnesota can keep it going. Just a lot of things. Carolina could get a little rough because they play Minnesota and OpTic. They could also be 0-4. So excited to see how that. If you guys enjoyed this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review. That's going to do it for this one, and we will see you guys in the next one.